Thank you for joining me with another episode of The Unexpected Detour. We're in life, detours are inevitable. Today, I have the pleasure of having with someone I hold near and dear to my heart. I've known her. I was her supervisor. We worked together and we have our own history together. Her name
Yeah.
is Angie Denise Jesse, and she is a breast cancer survivor. And what it was, when she saw I had breast cancer, she contacted me. And I was like, what? So without any further ado, let me introduce Angie. So Angie, tell us about yourself before I get started with the questions.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Angie. As Francis said, we have known each other for well over 20 years. She was my supervisor at work, and we became friends. And she was a shoulder for me to lean on way back then. I am now 63. I just celebrated a birthday. I'm a mom of 6 kids, and I have 7 grandchildren. I left New York 6 years ago and moved to Georgia. And I am just loving my life. I have no complaints about anything. Um, it's just a pleasure to have been chosen to be a part of the unexpected detour. So I thank you very much, Francis.
You're welcome. So, Angie, how old were you when you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
That was in 2018. So I was 57 going on 58.
Okay, how was yours diagnosed?
Well, it's a fun well, I won't say it's a funny story, but the way it came about was, I have to admit that when I look back on it, it was God guiding me to find it. Um I had been down here. We moved down here in March of 2017, and I found a beautiful church and I became a member and I got busy in the women's ministry and I made some friends. And there was this lady that I used to sit next to every Sunday. And she was a little frail lady, and we just formed this bond and we became friends. And then when COVID hit, she didn't have anybody to help her. So I would drive out to her and take her things of that nature, take her to the store when she needed to go. And then for a couple of Sundays, I didn't see her in church. And I had been calling her and I didn't get an answer. So I really got concerned and I got in touch with the church office to see if they had heard anything, which they hadn't. But then all of a sudden, I got a phone call from her and she said to me that she was in the hospital. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do my very best to come and see you. So for 2 weeks, I wasn't able to make it to her. And in that 2 week time, every time I turned on my radio, there was always two songs playing back to back. Yolanda Adams, The Battle Is Not Yours. And the other one was I'll Be Ready. And I said to my husband one day, why is it every time I turn on the radio, these two songs are playing? It didn't dawn on me. So one Sunday I'm in church and my spirit kept saying to me, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. So I called my husband. I said, I'm not coming straight home. I'm going to see the lady in the hospital today. So he says, okay. Now I just got my driver's license. So I wasn't that familiar with a lot of stuff when it came to driving. So when I got to the hospital and I went to go into the parking garage, you have to go through the thing and get the ticket and the arm
Yeah,
lifts. Well, I wasn't too sure how close to get to the machine without actually hitting it.
that's my
So
girl. That
I
sounds like
pulled
me, Angie.
when I pulled in, I was too far away. So I had to literally lean out of the window to get the ticket. and I squished my underarm and it hurting me. So I said, dang. I go in, I visit the lady, I sit with her for a little while, and then I go home. Coming out of the garage, I did the exact same thing. So now this thing is paining me all the way home. I'm steady rubbing and I'm like, what is this? So I get home, and not to be offensive, but I was a heavy breasted woman. You know that.
Yeah.
Um, so I had all my bras had the underwire. So I thought maybe it was the underwire had jabbed. So I get home, I take off my bra, I take a bath, and I come out, but it's still bothering me. And so I go to feel for it, and there's this huge lump, something that I had never felt before. So I call my husband because now I'm like, what is this? And he says, well, I don't think it's what you think it is because it wouldn't come up that fast and be that big. But that didn't settle my mind. So I called my doctor the next day and she says, okay, how soon can you come in? So I went in the following day and she's checking and she's feeling and she's like, well, it's not hard. And I don't think it would be cancer because it wouldn't, like my husband said, show up that soon and that big. So she said, but we need you to go take a mammogram. So it's okay. I get to the place to take the mammogram about a week later, and they tell me that they can't do a mammogram because I'm a transplant from New York. They need to see my last mammo from New York. So now I have to get in touch with these people, get them to send it. That took about 2 weeks. So they get it, they call me, come in, do your mammo. The next day, Francis, I get a phone call and it's the clinic. And they said to me, we need you to make an appointment with the breast surgeon. No, it wasn't that. Yeah, I need you to make an appointment with the breast surgeon. Okay. So I made the appointment, and the lady said to me, we need you to do a biopsy before you come in to see the doctor. I said, okay. So my husband and I go to the hospital. We do the biopsy. They said someone would call me. I never got a call from them. But what I did get was a phone call from the breast surgeon's office. Now, my appointment initially was May 31st of 2018. But they called me to tell me, we need you to come in sooner. Can you come in on May 24th? And I said, sure. So we go in, they give me this robe to put on, and they tell me the doctor will be in a few minutes. And then this doctor comes in and she's got a camera around her neck and she's got this the board with the marker that you can erase, and she's drawing pictures and she's talking, and then she says, people with your diagnosis. And so my husband and I looked at each other and at exactly the same time said to her, what diagnosis? And she said to me, Miss Jessie, nobody called you? I said, no. And she looked at me and she said, you have breast cancer. And it was like my whole world just stopped right then. And I broke down and I cried. My husband came to console me, but the doctor said to him, no, it's okay. I got her. And this woman held me like she had known me forever. And she let me cry. And then we talked about what was going on. So,
Okay. How
yeah,
did your kids feel when you told them?
I had one.
Joy, probably.
Uh, no, I can't remember it being. Yeah, you're right. It was
Mm,
Joy.
I know that's a hip baby.
Yeah, she was the most upset.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was the only one who cried. And I had to explain to her, sickness does not mean death.
Right.
I had to deal with that myself.
Right.
But what did happen after I told my kids, I was sitting in my backyard and I was talking to God, and I said, you blessed me to move out of New York, to get a house, to get married, to find a beautiful church home. Why now? And just like me and you are sitting here talking, I heard him say to me, it's going to be okay. Just trust the process.
I know
And
that. I know that feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
I the next Sunday was the fourth Sunday, and it was youth Sunday, so the youth minister was preaching. And I got my notebook and I got my Bible and I'm ready to take notes. And he gave us the scripture, and his topic was trust the process.
Look at God. Ain't that something?
And it was right then, Francis, that I just wiped my hands clean of it. And I said, it is what it's going to be. I'm leaving it to you, God. And that was it. And so it took me back to the songs that kept playing on,
Right.
yo, it's
Yes.
your battle. It's the Lord's battle.
Yes.
Whatever happens, Lord, I'm going to be ready. I
Yes.
feel like he positioned me here in Georgia to get the support that I needed, to get the love that I needed, to get the care that I needed. I honestly believe that I wouldn't have pulled through the way I did had I still been in New York.
Yeah. God, he knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
What stage were you?
Well, when they did the biopsy, they said it was stage 2, but my breast surgeon said to me it was more stage 3A.
Okay. So you didn't have any lymph nodes then. Your lymph nodes weren't affected by it. Yeah, that's good.
It was aggressive.
Oh,
And so she said to me, we need to get you started on chemo immediately. So now that's when the fear and the nerves came in. So they sent me to the oncologist, and the oncologist was explaining to me what they were going to do, how they were going to treat it because it was aggressive and it was in my lymph nodes.
oh, it was.
Yeah. So they
Oh,
explained the reason they had to go aggressive is because, we go to school, but a lot of times we learn these things and we don't pay attention.
exactly.
Said to me, your lymph nodes is what directs the fluids through your body.
Yes.
So if the cancer is in your lymph nodes, the lymph nodes is pushing the cancer through. And that's what's making it aggressive. So we need to go in aggressively. So they did measurements of the tumor and all of that before I started chemo. My tumor was 8 centimeters.
Oh, wow.
So I went through 20 weeks of chemo. My
Hmm.
4 treatments was, a lot of people call it red devil.
Yeah, you had the red devil. I know
Yeah,
what it is because I know
right.
somebody, they were
I
like, if I have to
remember
get that,
the
I'm
name
not
of
getting
the
that. Remember, I asked you if you had the
yeah,
red devil. Yeah.
yeah. So I would get that first treatment. I never forget it. When I tell you, Francis, I was just so fatigued and so tired and so worn out. And I took that treatment, and I would just lay in the chair for days. And when I started feeling better and more like myself, it was time to go back for the next treatment. And it was so strong, they would only give it to me once every 2 weeks.
Yep, that's how it
Um,
works.
yeah. So they told me, by the time you get your second treatment, you're going to start losing your hair. Now, my hair was a little longer than it is right now. And so I said to my husband, I don't want to see this fall out. So my daughter said, well, let's cut it down. So we cut the dreads off, and I had a little short haircut, and I was like, ooh, I don't like it.
Because
But
we're
you
not
know,
used to seeing that.
exactly,
Let me
exactly.
ask you something, because I know I experienced this thing where my head was just sore. I couldn't touch my scalp, you know.
I
If I would
didn't.
touch it, it was so sore, Angie. I mean, when I
Wow,
say sore, sore. Yeah.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell people, when God told me it was gonna be okay, He meant just that thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The oncologist was telling me about the side effects and how this was gonna happen. I was gonna lose my taste buds. I was gonna be nauseous all the time and all this other stuff.
And
And
Angie didn't claim none of it.
Francis, the only thing I dealt with was the dark spots on my tongue and on my
Mm-hmm.
neck. That was it. I never lost
Oh,
appetite. I never lost my sense of taste. I ate just like I always did. Um, I even had a young lady, because I started, once I got my diagnosis, they referred me to a social worker. And so I went to see this lady, and she referred me to a cancer support group. And I'll tell anybody, you might not think you don't need it, but you're going to need those people. And
yeah.
so I started going to the support group before I even started my chemo.
Oh, okay.
So I always had this legion of women behind me, supporting and praying, because it was a Christian based support group.
Right.
So I started going, and it was just none of the side effects. There was one lady that offered me gel socks and gloves, because she said, when you start your chemo on the once a week regimen, that's the one that's going to kill your cuticles and all of that other stuff. And so you need to wear these gel socks and gloves during your treatment so that your nails don't fall off. So I would keep them in the freezer. We take them in the cooler. My husband would be pulling this cooler every week. And we would go in and we would do this chemo. He would put these gloves and socks on my hands and feet and change them every 15 minutes. And I never lost my nails. My oncologist used to say to me, why are you here? And I told him, because y'all told me that I had to be, that I had to
Yeah.
be, y'all told me I had to be here. So I did all my chemo, and in all of the time I was doing chemo, I was reaching out to the other women who were there doing chemo at the same time. And we would pray, and I would talk to them. And it was like ministering to them was ministering to me.
Correct.
So I never felt down or discouraged about anything that I was going through. I was in church every week. I was still doing my women's ministry work. And so I guess it kept my mind off of it a lot.
Yeah. You got to keep
Um,
your mind occupied.
yeah.
See, and I didn't have all that you had. I went in there with Jeremiah 29:11.
All right. Now I know the plans I have for you.
That was his
Yes,
plan.
indeed.
I mean, I used to say, I don't have a support group. And I remember that first day of chemo,
Mm-hmm.
that's when God said, you're going to do this by yourself. You're going,
Wow.
yeah, it's just me and you. I want you to trust me.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
need those people. I did have a social worker and she helped me. But
Okay.
like I used to tell her, I mean, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm good. It took me till now to finally come to the realization that I had breast cancer.
Wow.
I never dealt with anything. I just, I would be here, have my own my pity parties. We
Yeah,
always go through that because you
yeah,
still ask, why me?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then I remember my pastor, he would be like, why not you?
Exactly.
Why
Exactly.
not you?
Mm-hmm. Who are you that you
Yes,
can't be subject to this? You
yes. And I
um
was like, okay.
yeah. I tell you, God was with me from beginning to end, and he's still with me.
Yes,
I mean,
he is.
when I look back over my life and the things that I have come through, Francis, I know God was always by my side, carrying me wherever I needed to go.
Yeah.
And I went through that 20 weeks of chemo, and then I finished in, it was the end of November. Had this bald head that I had gotten used to and I started liking and
Yeah. And when you see
didn't
mine
want
still like that,
to try. I
right?
didn't want to grow my hair back, but my husband was like, no, you gotta grow your hair back. No.
Oh, well, mine it grew back. And then
Uh-huh.
because of my type of cancer, I take hormone medicine.
Okay.
It wouldn't grow back. I have to be completely off of it and then it will start to grow.
Okay.
Because I
Okay.
had I'm the HER2 positive,
See,
which
now that's something I never understood, and I should have questioned it more.
did they
Like
explain to you the HER thing?
they did, but I just never paid it any mind.
Did
And
they
I was,
say you were positive or negative?
girl, don't ask me.
Because
I was
negative, those are the ones that get just chemo. You didn't get radiation,
no
did you?
positive then. I was,
Okay.
I got radiation as well.
Okay, so you had it what I had. They gave
Yeah.
you some pills to take after.
Yeah, I'm still on them. I'm on my last year.
So then you were what I was. But you
Yeah.
going through menopause. So make sure when
Oh,
you
I did.
go, I know, but when you go through menopause, they give you
Uh-huh.
a different pill. So make sure, because I take a different pill.
I take a Nastrozole.
Okay, and I don't take that because I wasn't going through. I went through menopause already.
Uh-huh.
So they give you a different pill to take when you have finished menopause.
I was finished too.
Yeah, but my classmate of mine, she's in the medical profession. She told me to ask them to let
Okay.
them know that I am done with menopause. Am I taking such and such, or am I taking the other one? And when I
Oh,
asked, she gave me the one that you take for 10 years.
oh no, I'm on the 5-year pill.
Oh, okay. See, I take
Yeah.
mine for 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I
So
finished chemo and I rang that bell and I was so happy. But then I said, oh God, here comes surgery. So
oh yeah, because you had a bigger size, so
yeah.
you
So
had the one.
now they're setting
What they
me up for,
call it?
I'm seeing the plastic surgeon because they're gonna remove the lump. They're not gonna take my breast. They're gonna remove the lump, which is gonna make my breast smaller. And then they're going to reduce the other side to make it even with the one that they're doing the actual cancer surgery on.
Oh,
So the lady said, we're going to schedule you for surgery December 7th. And I said, oh God, that's 4 days before my birthday. That's
mm.
all I thought about. So I said, you know what? That'll be a great birthday present. I can do this and get it over with. So did my surgery. And she called me 3 days later and she said, Miss Jesse, we took 5 lymph nodes. 3 of them still had cancer.
Oh,
So we have to go back in.
so they went back and took out the lymph nodes.
They went back and took 13 more.
Really?
And she said only one of those 13 had cancer. And she says, I'm done. You're fine.
Oh, so you had 13 removed and one was cancerous. Thank
Mm-hmm.
God.
18 in total. And then after I healed, let me tell you something. I was going to church with the drainage tubes and everything.
Really?
I had my husband's big old shirt on to cover everything, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't church because I felt like God told me this was going to be okay. And
Right.
I did his word. I didn't suffer. When I tell you not my A1C, my white blood cell count only went below normal one time in the whole 20 weeks of chemo.
That's a blessing.
And so I felt like as long as I am able to get there, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going.
And you
And I'm
went.
him like I have lost my mind.
Yeah, because I saw you in them Facebook. I said, Jesse
That,
going to church.
yes, I am. And so
Mm-hmm.
after we did that, now it's time for uh the radiation. But before she did that, she called me in and she had pictures. And she showed me a picture of the lump before the surgery, before chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And then she showed me a picture of the lump after chemo. My lump went from 8 centimeters to 1.5.
Wow.
That's why I say that was nothing but God.
Yeah. He
Nobody
shrunk
but
it. It shrunk.
okay.
It
And
shrunk.
so now with the radiation, being that it was on my left side,
Oh,
they
you
were
had
my heart.
you right, me too. That was
Okay.
really the tricky one.
Right. So where they were sending me originally, um, they felt like they wouldn't be able to accommodate me because my heart would be getting too much of the radiation.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent me to another branch of their hospital, which was a 40-minute drive.
Wow.
And so I went out there and they did all the measurements. And what this facility does, they measure your breathing and focus on when your chest is raised off of the heart before they shoot the radiation.
You had to hold your breath.
Yes, I had to hold my
Oh Lord. Me and the
yeah,
guy got into a fight one day. I was
yeah,
like,
I
yo, the
breath.
machine went off on me. And I'm at lunch doing this, mind you. And I'm like, I gotta get back to work. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I went every day for 20, I
yeah.
had 20 treatments of it.
Me too. I went
Oh,
for 5 weeks,
yeah.
five 5 days a week. So I had 25 treatments.
Yeah, because I was all happy. I told everybody, I said, I got me a tattoo now. Because
Okay.
they tattooed me so
Yeah.
that it would beam where those
Boy,
tattoos
the
were.
tattoos. Yeah.
Right. I was all excited.
My husband was driving me out there every day, and thank God for these cancer organizations. And
Mm-hmm.
then he said to me, how far is your drive? And I told her, and what they would do was send me a check to reimburse us for the gas
Oh, that was
to
nice.
go out there 5 days a week. And so I did my chemo and I did my radiation. And let me tell you the funny part about the radiation. One day I'm coming out, like one of my girlfriends that I went to junior high and high school with lived down here.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl who does our class reunions called her and told her what was going on with me. So she
Okay.
me and she said, I'm coming to see you. So she would come and see me and she'd bring me food and stuff like that. And I'm coming out of radiation one day, and who do I see coming down the hall?
Your classmate.
This same girl. And I said, what are you doing here? And she said, oh my God, I did not want you to know.
She had breast cancer too.
Okay. I said, you got cancer and you coming to see about me, but you couldn't tell me that you had cancer. And it was like, it just drew us so much closer. And as a matter
That's
of fact, I talked to her earlier today.
that was God.
um, yeah, absolutely. I said, see, you tried to hide it from me, but God said,
So let me
walk.
ask you this last question because we
Yeah.
got like 3 minutes left.
Okay.
What would you do to encourage other people as you've told your journey? And I know a lot of women go through this, but how would you encourage them?
The only thing I can say to that, Francis, is that I have to share my story.
Okay.
And I go back to my oncologist office. I only see him every 6 months now. But whenever I'm in the building, because my ortho doctor is in that building as well, I always stop and I talk to the ladies in the waiting room. And I always say to them, I was in your chair once. But guess what? One day you're going to be standing where I am talking to somebody sitting in that chair that you're sitting in now. So you know you need to hold on to hope. You need to find a cancer support group. I say that from the bottom of my heart. I believe that is the key to you facing it with confidence.
Right.
Because when I walked in, I looked at these ladies who had mastectomies and implants. They were the most beautiful women in the world. You would have never thought they had breast cancer. And I said, am I in the right place? So I always try to encourage. I don't care how many times I have to repeat my story. There's always someone who needs to hear that you can get through it. You can get through it. I always um, refer whoever I meet to my cancer support group. People come to me who overhear me talking to someone and want to know, how did I do it? I did it because my attitude, number one.
Okay. Go ahead, Andrew.
You can't let the cancer defeat you. You have to defeat the cancer. You have to, whew, it's all about your attitude. It's
Yes.
all about your, and if you don't have God in your life, please get him. Get
Yeah.
him. I tell
Yeah.
anybody, God is it. Jesus, the Holy Spirit, it is it. If you have not tried him, you need to, because everything that he says to you, he is not a liar.
Yeah. He has a
God is not a
voice.
promise. He is not a promise breaker.
No, he
And
has a voice too. And
that's
he
it.
talks.
I
Yeah.
live on promises that he has made to me. I will live and not die. My plans for you are to give you a future and a hope. And so I hold on to that in everything that I do. And I listen, don't make me shout, okay?
Yeah. Don't make her shout.
God
No way.
real and life, and I will share him to the day I die.
Well, Angie, I thank you so much.
Thank you, Francis. I love you. You
I
know I love
love you too. And I'm glad that we reconnected, even
you. Yeah,
though it was through cancer.
yeah.
That
And it's
love
okay.
was always there because I
It,
always would wonder, how is Angie? And you're still here.
yeah, Angie's
Praising the
still
Lord. Yeah, Angie been through